Hello, my name is Mike, and I'll be representing Hypera postica, more commonly known as the alfalfa weevil.
Hi, my name is Lana, and I'll be defending the Diophis noxia, otherwise known as the Russian wheat aphid.
Our topic for this debate is, in a hypothetical situation, which of our insects would cause a greater infestation/loss? To start, I would like to begin my opening statement. The alfalfa weevil is a tiny insect which is native to all 48 mainland states, but they are mainly found in Illinois. This species can also be found in certain parts of Europe. The larvae are small and green colored to blend in with leaves. The adults are also still very small and brown colored with an appearance similar to other weevil species. Their head is small and skinny, their thorax is medium sized, and their abdomen is large, comparatively speaking. They have long, skinny mouth parts, used to feed and dig out spots of oviposition. They lay their eggs during the winter inside alfalfa stems. The larvae hatch and then begin feeding for a couple of weeks. After molting 3 times, they construct a cocoon, and pupate. After 2 weeks, they emerge as their 1/5 inch long, fully adult self. While adults do feed on alfalfa plants, the larvae's method of feeding does the most damages to crops. This is actually a benefit to the alfalfa weevil in this debate, since it does not even have to reach adulthood to cause its damage. The weevil and its larvae feed on the foliage of alfalfa plants. They have been known to decrease plant yields by 15%. Alfalfa is most commonly used for livestock feed production, but a second use has come about recently. People swear by alfalfa's ability to lower cholesterol, help balance blood sugar, and help with kidney problems. The ever-increasing demand for food in the United States, along with alfalfa's new uses, mean that this pesky weevil causes more losses now than ever. The alfalfa weevil also has some built-in protection within its main stomping grounds of Illinois, because another species lives there in the farmer's crops. The ever-important honeybee shares these fields with the weevils, and thus farmers are hesitant to use an insecticide. To close, these small insects can cause some serious damage to alfalfa plants, and thus hurt alfalfa farmers and other types of farmers, since the alfalfa is used to feed livestock owned by other farmers. Since alfalfa is considered a medical remedy by some, the weevil also affects non-farmers by lowering the production of alfalfa for people who need it. Thank you.
Russian wheat aphids are one of the most invasive species of small grains in the world, and there have been many population control efforts installed. The Russian wheat aphid is a tiny insect, only 2 millimeters long, but that makes it all the harder to detect. The wheat aphid has been introduced to California and has caused serious injuries to agriculture. Wheat and barley are the most susceptible to this bug's damage, but rye and triticale are not free from harm either. Their presence can be detected by plant damage, including white and purple longitudinal stripes on the leaves, leaf rolling along the margins, hook-shaped head growth, leafed heads, a loss of green coloring, and stunted plant growth. This all occurs because the Russian wheat aphid injects a toxin into the plants. They feed on the phlegm from plants, and in order to do that, they must pierce the plant material with their stylet mouthparts. Entire fields may be lost if infestations are not detected and controlled early on. However, this is difficult because the aphids hide within the plant. The leaf will roll inward, which protects the Russian wheat aphid from predators and insecticidal sprays. In addition to the size, the insect is disguised by its color as well. It is pale green with a spindle-shaped body and is covered with a powdery coating of flax. Insects' damage to agriculture has a significant economic impact because stunted plant growth and reduced vigor means reduced and slowed food production. Cereal crops such as wheat and barley are high in demand. Wheat consumption was 736 metric tons in 2017, which is a 25% increase than it was 15 years prior. Since the Russian wheat aphid's key food source is utilized for consumption on such a wide scale, their presence in large numbers can impact profits. Since their discovery in the US in 1986, there have been millions lost to wheat and barley production, and millions more spent on pesticides. The annual yield losses have ranged from 10 million to 274 million. The species is difficult to control because they can reproduce in high numbers. The Russian wheat aphid can reproduce both sexually and asexually. Additionally, these insects are tough creatures with their tolerance of cold weather, surviving sub-freezing temperatures.
Well, to start my rebuttal, my first point I would like to address is the Russian wheat aphid reproduction. You stated that they would reproduce sexually and asexually, but failed to mention that all of the Russian wheat aphids in North America are females, so they can only reproduce asexually. This means that a mature aphid is producing about 1.5 nymphs per day, while the alfalfa weevil creates batches up to 45 nymphs. Secondly, their tolerance to cold does not play a significant role in their survivability because the focus of your argument is on those in North America, specifically California. In these places you are discussing, it rarely reaches sub-freezing temperatures, and definitely not for a prolonged period of time. Lastly, as you mentioned, population control efforts have been installed, so efforts to control them have been researched and are made publicly available to everyone. Treatments include seed treatments, which offer early season protection, as well as other insecticides and biological controls. These treatments would not work on the alfalfa weevil because they would harm bees, which are vital pollinators. Thank you.
To start, while the alfalfa weevil may produce 45 nymphs in a batch, the Russian wheat aphid produces roughly the same number of nymphs because 1.5 nymphs are produced on average every day for about a month. In some cases, they can even make up to 4 a day. Additionally, my insect destroys wheat and yours destroys alfalfa. Wheat is an essential ingredient in thousands of different foods manufactured by many different companies. Alfalfa is a niche ingredient used in animal feeds but has inconsistent research into its supposed health benefits. Wheat is a far more important product because it not only feeds humans and animals, it also provides jobs for thousands. It's used in almost every bread and most cereals, foods Americans consume every day. You'd be hard pressed to find a large group of people who use alfalfa every day. Annually, my insect destroys millions of dollars of wheat, while the entire alfalfa industry probably isn't even worth millions of dollars. I would like to address the fact that you failed to mention that the fungus Sucloria tinnomi kills the alfalfa weevil very effectively. In fact, fungus is successfully preying on the weevil. Farmers do not have to interfere in any way. The weevil problem will be taken care of by the fungus. Thank you.
Solid points, but to start my rebuttal, I don't like how you downplayed alfalfa as an important agricultural industry. Did you know that the alfalfa hay market is expected to bring in $30 billion in revenue in 2022? Not such a small deal now. I will concede that alfalfa is not as big a deal as wheat, but to call it small would be incorrect. Also, alfalfa is an alternative that is low in calories and high in vitamins, providing many benefits such as decreasing cholesterol levels, aiding in treatment for diabetes, UTIs, PMS, arthritis, and more. On the second topic of the lethal fungus, I would like to emphasize that the fungus only thrives in hot, humid climates. So, unless this situation is taking place along the south coast, then the alfalfa weevil will be fine. In the rest of the US, the fungus should only be a problem for a couple select months. The rest of the year, the alfalfa weevil will be left to thrive and cause as much losses as it wants. Speaking of temperature, while the Russian wheat aphid may produce the same amount of nymphs in a month as the alfalfa weevil does in one batch, that is that is only if the reproduction occurs under ideal temperature conditions. This would be between 15 and 21 degrees Celsius, and temperatures in places such as California are not always falling within this range, so they may not reach up to 45 nymphs within 1 month. Thank you.
First, the alfalfa plant may be or the more nutritional alternative. It is still consumed way less, and therefore is going to impact way less than an infestation in wheat. Secondly, there are varieties of the alfalfa plant that are predominantly grown in Southern California, Arizona, and Mexico, which have hotter and humid climates. Argentina and Australia are also large alfalfa producers. However, in places where the fungus will not work, there are also effective control methods that can be implemented, such as using insecticides when the alfalfa is not in bloom, which will mean no harm to the bee populations. Early cutting is also another great strategy. Most likely would not even have to take chemical action though, because their natural predators and parasites will likely take care of the issue. Thirdly, as I stated before, the research into alfalfa's benefits are inconsistent, and those long-term benefits you mentioned were tested on rats, and it is yet to be proven to have the same benefits for humans. Lastly, autumn is the Russian wheat aphid's breeding season, and California's autumn temperatures do happen to fall in this temperature range, allowing for maximum reproducing potential. Thank you.
Just to give my closing statements, I have to admit that the Russian wheat aphid is a menacing threat to agriculture. There's no doubt that they cause huge losses with their infestations. Their ability to reproduce asexually and the fact that they destroy one of America's largest crops cannot be ignored. I, however, cannot admit that they are a bigger threat than the alfalfa weevil. Yes, they may prey on a less significant crop, but the ease of prevention of the alfalfa weevil is far lower than the Russian wheat aphid. Simple insecticides are able to be applied to kill your insect. My insect, you have to be more creative unless you want to kill honeybees, which nobody wants to do. Another thing is that Americans are moving away from wheat for health reasons. People are looking for crops like alfalfa to add to their diet. People want food that helps their health, like alfalfa. The alfalfa weevil is the pest of the future. Thank you.
The alfalfa weevil has really proven itself to me to be an extreme pest. The fact that the larvae do the damage and thus the insect does not even have to mature to wreak havoc is impressive. They also need to be removed creatively when the plants are in bloom, since insecticides would also kill the vital honeybee. With this said, the Russian wheat aphid is simply more of a threat. Its ability to reproduce asexually and sexually, and the fact that the damage it causes is in the hundreds of millions, cannot be ignored. The simple fact of the matter is that, yes, the alfalfa weevil matters, but it cannot compare to the sheer monetary effects of the Russian wheat aphid. Russian wheat aphid is one of the most invasive pests of wheat, which makes it economically detrimental, costing the US hundreds of millions. In fact, it is such a pest that most of the research around it has been solely based around controlling its populations. The insect is important to study because discovering what impacts their population is crucial knowledge for other invasive species. Knowing what predators, parasites, and weather conditions are effective and not effective is important to help curtail economic injury. Thank you.
Well, from both me and Lana, we would like to thank you for listening to our debate. Goodbye.